Are you unknowingly holding assets that seem valuable but are silently burning your money every day? They are the very barriers keeping your dream of financial freedom and retirement at bay. This video will expose the top 5 hidden enemies and how to avoid them.
1. The new car. Have you ever felt that buying a brand new car is a well-deserved reward for your hard work and success? If the answer is yes, you're not alone. Many people think the same. After years of grinding, saving every dollar, they walk into a shiny showroom, pick a glossy car, sign a loan contract, and tell themselves, "Finally, I've made it. I'm wealthy now." But hold on, did you know that just minutes after driving that car off the lot, it instantly loses 20 to 30% of its value? That means if you just spent $50,000 on a new car, the moment you hit the gas for the first time, it's only worth around $35,000 to $40,000. So where's the reward? Where's the joy? Or is it just the beginning of a financial drain you don't even realize? This is exactly the kind of dead asset that keeps millions of people trapped in the illusion of building wealth, when in reality, they're slowly bleeding their finances dry. A car is not an investment. It doesn't produce cash flow. It doesn't increase in value. On the contrary, it's a liability that constantly drains your money every year through high insurance, maintenance, repairs, and above all, inevitable depreciation. The sad truth? Many people take out loans just to own these brand new cars, a choice that robs them of financial freedom for years. They live in the illusion of success, thinking they've earned this well-deserved reward while actually locking themselves into a future of debt and limited choices. And what's worse, society, media, even friends and family often cheer you on for spending this way. That's why it doesn't feel wrong. But the truth is simple. You're spending future wealth to buy a present image. If you truly want to know how to build wealth, you need to view every expense through the lens of investment. A rich mindset isn't about driving a luxury car. It's about knowing when to spend and when to invest. Instead of dumping all your money into a brand new car just to impress or keep up, consider buying a 1 to 3-year-old used vehicle that's still in great condition but has already taken the depreciation hit for you. You'll save thousands instantly, and that money, if invested wisely, could become the foundation of long-term wealth. A used car doesn't make you look poor, but a brand new car with a long-term loan will keep you poor longer. That's the truth no one wants you to hear, especially not the banks or the dealerships. Finance isn't about how much you make, it's about how you keep and use what you have. And you'll never build wealth if you keep spending in ways that make your net worth drop the moment you sign that car loan. Remember this, the rich don't buy to impress, they buy to preserve and grow value.
2. Jewelry. It's beautiful, it sparkles, but it doesn't grow your wealth. You may have heard this from a close friend, your aunt, or even your own mother. Buy gold and save it, you'll never lose. In times of economic uncertainty, that advice sounds even more reasonable. For centuries, gold has been seen as a safe haven, a financial safety net for the future. But if you're buying gold in the form of rings, necklaces, or earrings and thinking it's a smart investment, you're seriously mistaking emotional value for real value. Here's the harsh truth. Most gold jewelry isn't an investment. It's a luxury product marked up 2 to 3 times its actual worth. When you spend $3,000 on a gold necklace, the actual gold inside may only be worth about $800. The rest? You're paying for design, branding, craftsmanship, retail commissions, store fees, and a whole lot of marketing gloss. In other words, nearly 75% of what you're paying has nothing to do with gold. It's the price of feeling like you own something expensive. You've probably heard people say gold never loses value. That's only partially true and only applies to bullion, pure gold bars, or other structured gold investments. But with jewelry, the moment you walk out of the store, that item may lose 30% to 70% of its resale value. Why? Because buyers, especially gold dealers, only care about the raw gold content, not the brand, not the design, and certainly not the sentimental story behind it. Susan, a woman in Dallas, is a perfect example. Over 30 years, she saved over $25,000 in gold jewelry, believing it was her investment stash. But when she retired and needed cash, the gold shops offered her just $7,600, less than one-third of what she had spent. The appraiser didn't care about memories or meaning. They only cared about how much gold could be melted down. If you truly want to invest in gold as a way to diversify or hedge against inflation, your strategy needs to be far more deliberate. Only buy from reputable dealers. If you want to own physical gold, choose bullion bars or certified gold coins. And if a website offers gold at prices that sound too good to be true, they probably are. Scams in the gold market are real and costly. Now, to be clear, jewelry has emotional and cultural value. It carries memories, family ties, and personal meaning. But don't confuse meaning with money, and never confuse looking good with building wealth. If you're buying jewelry for beauty or sentiment, that's wonderful. But if you're buying it to hold value or grow money, you're heading in the wrong direction. This isn't a path to wealth, and definitely not to lasting financial freedom. On the journey to true wealth, it's crucial to know the difference between a real asset and something that merely feels like one. Many people buy gold jewelry thinking it's a nest egg for their children, but what they're really leaving behind is an emotional item with poor resale value. So ask yourself, do you want to pass down real, lasting wealth or expensive items that are hard to liquidate? If you've ever bought gold jewelry as an investment, share your story. Have you ever tried to sell it? Were you shocked by what buyers offered? Your lesson could save someone else from making the same costly mistake. And remember, losing your own money is painful, but at least it's your mistake. Because in the next section, we'll step into one of the most dangerous financial territories where money and family emotions collide, where many people have lost not just their savings, but relationships too, all because of one decision that felt generous at the time.
3. Buying lottery tickets. You once asked, "How do I become wealthy?" And someone handed you a lottery ticket. You thought, maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe this is my big break. But what you didn't realize was you just bought a dream, cleverly packaged, marketed as a financial miracle, when in reality, it's the harshest tax ever created for those who don't understand probability. Every year, millions of Americans spend billions on lottery tickets, not because they're foolish, but because they're desperate. They feel trapped by work, bills, and debt, and they cling to the belief that one big win could change everything. Financial education never teaches you to bet your hard-earned money on a game with a 1 in 292 million chance. It teaches you that wealth is a process, not a stroke of luck. Here's the truth. You're more likely to be struck by lightning twice than to hit the jackpot. So why do we keep pouring hope into the impossible instead of building a plan that's clear, real, and sustainable? Let's break it down. If you spend just $10 a week on lottery tickets, that's over $500 a year. Over a decade, that's more than $5,000, not including the lost potential of compound interest. If that same money were invested regularly in index funds like the S&P 500, it could grow to $8,000, $10,000, or more, depending on the market. A wealthy mindset doesn't rely on winning overnight. It's built on patience, discipline, and the power to say no to tempting, empty promises. Rich people don't buy lottery tickets. They buy income-generating assets. They don't dream of winning, they build financial plans. Not because they're smarter, but because they understand.
If you don't control your money, it will control you. You don't need tens of thousands to get started. You just need to stop throwing $10 a week into a fantasy and start turning it into a step toward real wealth. Instead of pulling out your wallet for another ticket, open a small investment account. Read a book on personal finance. Learn a skill that increases your income. That is the real path to financial freedom, not a fragile piece of paper filled with false hope. And if you've bought lottery tickets before, don't be ashamed. What matters is this moment, the moment you realize dreams don't come from luck, they come from choice. And with every dollar you hold, you get to choose. Spend it on risky hope or invest it in a future you can actually build. Wealth isn't magic, it's a habit, and you can start building it today.
4. Luxurious vacations, the price of stress relief on borrowed money. I used to think a luxurious vacation was the antidote to modern life, a life where everything moves too fast, too loud, and too pressured. We work hard all year long. Don't we deserve to reward ourselves with a getaway to a place with white sand and golden sun? That's why I booked a ticket to Cancun just a few days after seeing pictures of my friends flaunting their vacations on Instagram. I wanted that feeling, the feeling of living fully, of rewarding myself. But no one told me that this so-called living fully could turn into a financial nightmare. According to a Business Insider report, nearly half of young people today are willing to go into debt just to have their dream vacation, a statistic that stunned me. I was once one of them, swiping my credit card without a thought for the bill that would come later. Cancun was wonderful, the sunshine, the delicious food, the sound of the waves soothing my soul. But just a few weeks after I got back, when that $10,000 bill from the bank arrived in my inbox, the joy disappeared. It wasn't just a piece of paper, it was a reminder that I had bought a few days of relaxation with months of stress to come. The problem here wasn't just the vacation, it was a dangerous psychological cycle. Feeling pressure, taking a vacation to relieve stress, returning home to face the debt, feeling even more stressed, dreaming of the next vacation as an escape. With each cycle, you sink deeper into the quicksand of debt. And worse yet, modern society, especially social media, has turned vacations into part of personal identity, as if your worth is directly tied to the extravagance of your most recent trip. I remember Dave Ramsey, one of the most influential personal finance experts in America, once shared, "You can't live the life of the rich if you still spend money like you're bankrupt." That hit me like a ton of bricks. Because it's true. Going on a lavish vacation while my account was nearly drained didn't make me successful. It just made me a debtor to my own thoughtless decisions. Did you know Jeff Bezos drove a Honda Accord during the early years of building Amazon? Not because he couldn't afford a luxury car, but because he understood one principle. Rewarding yourself only makes sense when your financial foundation is solid. A vacation can wait, but financial freedom can't be bought with a few Instagram check-in pictures. And the truth is, relaxation doesn't have to be tied to an international flight. If you don't have the cash, don't travel. It's that simple. You can create a restful space in your own home. Turn off your phone, cook a nice meal, listen to soft jazz music, or read a great book. Your mind needs rest, not necessarily your body lounging by a resort pool. Sometimes what you really need is a Saturday with no noise, no emails, no pressure, not a round-trip ticket to some faraway destination. It took me almost 2 years to pay off the debt from that vacation. During those 2 years, I didn't take any more trips. But what I gained was peace of mind, a deep lesson in self-discipline and financial responsibility, a realization that vacations don't define my worth. You don't become someone just because you vacationed in the Maldives or Santorini. But you can become a more peaceful person if you learn how to spend your money responsibly.
If you're feeling pressured and thinking about borrowing money to unwind with a vacation, pause for a moment. Take a deep breath. Look at your financial big picture. You may not need to run away from life. Maybe you just need to adjust the way you live. Don't let your youth, the most valuable thing you have, become the sponsor of vacations you'll be paying for decades later. Remember, a vacation should never become a debt. And freedom doesn't lie in where you go, but in the feeling that you no longer fear the bill that comes at the end.
5. Credit card debt. Every time you swipe your credit card to buy something, you're not just spending money, you're placing a bet against your own future. Sounds dramatic? Maybe, but it's a harsh truth most people avoid. They think they're living comfortably, financially in control. But in reality, they're quietly building a debt bomb, and when it goes off, the cost is nothing less than their dream of financial freedom. In America, many people over 35 fall into an invisible spiral. With a more stable income and rising desires, they want to reward themselves, a new watch, a weekend getaway, or maybe just a fancy dinner. And when the bank account isn't ready, they reach for the credit card. Once, twice, until it becomes a habit. The problem isn't spending money. The problem is how you spend it and how you pay it back. The average credit card interest rate in the U.S. hovers around 20% annually. That means if you charge $5,000 and only make minimum payments, you could end up paying nearly $10,000, double, just to repay the money you already spent. That's not consumption anymore. That's reverse compounding, silently draining every dollar you earn. Wealth doesn't come from how much you make, it comes from how much you keep. And you'll never achieve financial stability if high-interest debt is controlling your mind and your money decisions every day. If you're carrying credit card debt, know this: you're not alone. But what matters is waking up before it's too late. Because the longer it lingers, the more it grows. And with it, you lose investment opportunities, flexibility, and most importantly, financial control. Start by facing the numbers. How much total credit card debt do you owe? What's the exact interest rate? Then pick a strategy. The snowball method, pay off the smallest debt first for motivation, or the avalanche method, tackle the highest interest debt first to save money. Cut the cards if you need to. Switch to debit or only use credit when you already have a plan to pay in full. Every dollar you save from escaping that 20% interest isn't just money kept, it's the foundation of real wealth. Remember, a wealthy mindset doesn't begin with earning more. It starts with knowing when to say no. No to the designer bag, no to the latest gadget, no to the luxury vacation. In return, you gain the peace of waking up every morning free from the crushing weight of debt. Financial education isn't in textbooks, it's in every spending choice you make. You don't need a grand gesture to start changing. You just need to stop letting credit cards quietly steal your future. And finally, ask yourself, am I truly living or am I a slave to my past financial decisions? You deserve a better future, one without credit card debt, without fear, just real financial freedom. So now you know the 5 asset traps to avoid to protect your hard-earned wealth. Take action today, eliminate these burdens to build a truly comfortable and financially free retirement. Don't forget to like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other useful knowledge. Wishing you success.